Welcome to the HR Happy Hour work break. You're here with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish McFarlane. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
I think I need to move my camera closer because I feel like you're bigger than me. So
I was leaning into it a little bit. I have a bad habit. I don't always sit exactly still, so I do lean in sometimes when we do this show. I've noticed. I'll try to keep it together.
I feel like we never plan these, right? We never talk beforehand, but we tend to dress alike a little bit. I feel like your wall color looks a little like my wall color.
Yeah, I went with the neutral. Yeah, pretty much.
It's funny because I think it's just to have bright lights in here. Mine is actually like a buttery yellow in my office, but anyway. And look, I'm wearing my reader glasses and they almost look like your reader glasses.
Yeah, these are my as well. These are the Shanghai glasses that I put on occasionally. I don't wear them all the time because they're a little off-putting because they are bifocals and I know I need them, but I still have never become completely used to wearing them. So sometimes I get a little bit of a not a headache, maybe just I feel a little off when I wear them all day long. So I swap them out. I do swap out the glasses kind of frequently around here. Keeps things exciting. There's not a lot going on in lockdown pandemic world.
When you're swapping out glasses to bring excitement to your life, right?
Yeah. Which one should I wear? So Trish, I want to follow up on something yesterday. I'm going to come in a little hot on this one. You brought up a show on Netflix that you asked me to watch episode 1 of. Show called Bridgerton, which I had only just heard of. I didn't know anything about it. But I just heard of it. So I did. I fired it up on Netflix last night, episode 1. I'm going to tell you what, that's an hour of my life I'm never getting back. You owe me for it.
You didn't like it?
No, I'm not the target demo for that at all. And here's what that show was to me, Trish. That was a Hallmark Christmas movie with a bigger budget, better costumes, and they included like the good parts, right? Because I could show those because it's Netflix. That show needed immediately within the first, like when you watched it in the credits or something, it immediately needed, hey, listen, we know why you're watching this show. Immediately fast forward to 13.29. That's the scene you're here to watch. And then after that scene ends, it should have said, okay, now 42:18, and you're out. That's what that show needed. I'm convinced the only reason those scenes are in that show is to keep people watching that dumb show.
No, it's such a good show. It's such a good show. But it's funny because
I won't be seeing episode 2.
There are 8 episodes. And by the time that you get to the 8th one, I'm kind of like, could we just have them stop having sex so much?
Yeah,
so much. It's just a little much.
I didn't like anything. Honestly, I just so tuned out by it when in the first episode there were only 2 of those scenes and they weren't particularly crazy, but I mean there were sex scenes, that's fine. When the second one came around, I asked myself aloud, there was no one here, I said, are those the same 2 people from the first one? I don't even remember. Like if it was the same man and woman, it wasn't man and woman. I couldn't remember. I didn't care. It didn't matter because I knew by then I was done.
You were done?
I was done.
Well, I'm sorry. I think the whole rest of the world.
Fact at the end of episode 1, and sure, maybe there's some twists and turns. It was so obvious that the handsomest guy in the kingdom was going to connect with the number 1 eligible young girl of the kingdom. Who didn't see that coming? That's the Hallmark movie element of it. Come on. What a shocker.
All right, enough.
I just wrote in off the cover of a romance novel. Of course he's going to get the girl. That's how it works.
It's good stuff. Bridgerton's
amazing. I'm done.
All right, so I want to change gears. I want to ask you a question because I was in the car, I don't know, a week or so ago, and I was flipping around, put on an NPR show, and it was one of like short stories, and I hadn't heard that show before, and so they had Anthony Rapp was reciting a portion of a book, and apparently they have other famous people come and do this, like is it LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow? Do you remember him?
Sure, yeah, LeVar.
Like Star Trek. LeVar Burton.
LeVar,
right?
Yeah.
He was on there. Anthony Rapp is from Rent and some other really famous things. But anyway, the book he was reading an excerpt from was James Baldwin's Giovanni's Room.
Oh,
you heard of that?
I've heard of James Baldwin. I'm not familiar with that particular book.
I have too, and I wound up buying 2 books of his, so I'll have to tell you if it's any good. But
Nice.
I don't know. I'd be interested. Has anybody else read James Baldwin before? It's not incredibly long.
Yeah.
I started.
My sort of cultural reference for the show today is a little bit lower brow, Trish, but this is interesting. I only caught this up because we talked about the Muppets the other day.
We did.
And did you know, Trish, that you may be aware, sometimes older pieces of art, literature, poems, books, etc., songs even, they become part of the public domain after X number of years. I think it might be 75. There might be some lawyers out there who know the answer. It's not quite 100. It's less than that. I think it's in the 70 range, 75 range, something like that. Anyway, the famous novel that we all read in high school, The Great Gatsby, Trish, recently entered the public domain. And what basically that means is you can use it any way you want. You can read it out loud on an NPR podcast. You can make it into a play and put it on. You can do whatever you want to. It's in the public domain. You don't have to pay anybody any royalties for this. And what happens to stuff that gets in the public domain often is people create so-called fan fiction, right? About the characters or the story. Long story short, I know it's getting long. There's a 109-page script that someone wrote that mashes up the Muppets with The Great Gatsby. The script is for a potential movie called The Muppets Present The Great Gatsby. With Kermit as Gatsby, it looks like, from what I could tell. And many of the other Muppets characters in there, not all being the characters in Gatsby, sometimes they're just the Muppets. It looks incredibly funny and kind of interesting. And people are now begging. There's like a cult of people like on Reddit somewhere clamoring for someone to produce this movie because the script's out there now. And the guy who wrote it posted the script. If you just Google Muppets Great Gatsby, I'm sure you could download the script and read it for yourself. The part I read looked really, really funny. So maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll see a Muppets Great Gatsby movie sometime soon. That would be pretty cool.
You know what? I love mashups. I think that's cool. I hope they do it. I also like mashups of songs. I don't know if you follow any of those, but sometimes on Twitter or TikTok you can see like mashups of songs. And I saw one this week. It was Eminem and the Bee Gees mashed up. So good, so good.
Yeah, I was looking for unrelated to that and a terrible non sequitur. I was looking for something in my backpack, my travel backpack. I haven't traveled in a while. I was rummaging through it. The thing I was looking for, I couldn't find, but I did find this, Trish, an open package of Spree.
Are they chewy or are they regular?
They're the crunchy side, the hard candy shell. These things must have a shelf life of forever, right? Like, I don't know how long they've been in there open, but I'm going to try one.
Are you going to eat? You're going to eat old candy?
What color Spree do you think?
Oh gosh.
I got orange, purple, green, red.
You have like a whole mouthful of Spree. What are you doing?
I'm trying to eat the Spree.
How many did you put in there?
Just one. I'm crunching it up.
My goodness.
That's still pretty good. I think these keep forever. 60 calories per 8 pieces too, by the way.
I think when you eat Spam, your body's already used to like things that last forever. Well, I didn't plan on showing you, but I can show you what I'm getting ready to eat at the end of our work break.
I'm having
homemade banana bread.
Oh.
My daughter makes really good banana bread. So, no, that's the best part of this year. Both of my kids had foods class in high school. So a lot of home cooking going on. So I get to try all the goodies. But anyway, she made me some homemade, well, it's actually banana apple bread, to be fair, but it's really good.
So I had one thing that's like semi-serious since we're talking about Spree and Muppets and terrible Netflix shows. Sure. I saw a survey, and this is kind of interesting. We're going to have to keep following this on the HR Happy Hour and maybe the Alexa Show too. But recent survey from West Monroe Partners, Trish said they pulled 150 C-suite executives, and more than half of these 150 executives said they will require employees to get the COVID-19 vaccine before returning to work. I think that's going to become a thing because
it could, but I will say this. I think too, it's interesting because when any survey, right, you can never know all of the context around it. Like, are they just asking random C-suite people and, is it a CEO of a 3-person organization or
right? And there does need to be some context of the industry they're in and the type of work they're doing. Certainly, that makes sense too.
And also, is this just a CEO who's answering kind of off the cuff without talking to their employment lawyer or team of lawyers? Like, I think that's going to be a much bigger discussion.
But the flip side of this, which is really interesting too, the other side of this story, and it's going to come up more and more. And I've got 4 examples here: Trader Joe's, Aldi, the retail chain, the grocery chain, Dollar General, and Instacart with the Instacart shoppers. They're all already announced they're offering various incentives to their employees to go get the COVID-19 vaccine. So it ranges. Sometimes it's 2 to 4 hours of pay and the time off to go do it. It could be a cash stipend. Aldi's is actually, or Aldi or maybe Lidl, they're both doing it. I think one of them was a couple $100 to the employees as a bonus to go get the thing, because they're basically trying to remove barriers for people to go get the vaccine. Like, I can't take time off work, I can't afford to take time off of work, etc. Right? I want to be reimbursed. So that could be the way to go, rather than come down hard and say you must get the vaccine. Maybe coming up with a way to kind of incentivize employees to go get it. I think we're going to see more employees doing that too. So that's my serious part of the show. I'm gonna go back to Candy.
Yeah. I think it's something to follow. I'm glad you mentioned those things too, because obviously we're all thinking about that. I think too, it'll be interesting to see over this next year, what happens if you've already had COVID, for example. Should you get the vaccine? Should you not? Like, they're still debating how long your, immunity should be up. And for example, I've had it. I didn't even know I had it. It was so mild. So I don't know. Does that mean, I have a letter from the health department that says you're good if you're around someone that has it? The likelihood of me catching it is very, very small, I guess. But in that example, I don't know. I mean, before having it, I wanted to get a vaccine. Now I will probably still get a vaccine, but I don't know. Like, should you not?
I don't know. I think you should. I think that's the advice. When it's your turn, still go get it anyway. But
still go get it anyway.
Yeah. Real quick, Trish, the Apollo 13 Workplace Movie Hall of Fame show posted today that you and I did. Quick turnaround on that one. Really, really fun show. And so check that out on hrhappyhour.net. And one last thing for me, Trish, I just got an alert on my phone. You follow The Bachelor or The Bachelorette thing? Is that a thing you're aware of? Well,
I've never watched it.
My headline here is Claire Crawley found out about her broken Bachelorette engagement when we did, which I'm calling that out is absolutely not true, because I just found about it now. I'm just learning of this. I think she knew before me. That's a lie.
The fact that you're getting breaking news on The Bachelor, but yet you're like totally dissing Bridgerton. What?
I'm a man of the people, Trish. I'm not one of these fancy pants, British 1800s Victorian costume drama people.
All right, we're going to let everyone go. Thank you all for watching every single day, joining us. Please subscribe to all of our shows on the HR Happy Hour Network. You can do that at iTunes, Stitcher Radio, whatever medium you get your favorite podcast from. The HR Happy Hour. Download that today, and we will see you back here tomorrow.